So, how do I create my content? So those of you who do a little bit more investigation, go a bit more into my channel and see the number of videos. I mean, right now it's not very impressive. It's like 390 videos or something, right? And so forth. But I created it in the last just over 2 months, right? So the rate at which I'm creating is phenomenal. And the content is unique in nearly all the videos, or a unique perspective, and also from my experiential point of view. But how do I get so many ideas and so forth? So I want to discuss that in this video today. For those who like the contents of my video, please don't forget to also press like and also subscribe if you haven't already. This will greatly help my channel to be able to reach out to more people. And if I can ask you one optional extra favor, drop a comment. I want to hear what you think. And also share it with at least one other person or your favorite social media channel. I would very highly appreciate that. But more importantly, I want to thank from the bottom of my heart each and every of you for the precious time and the privilege of of getting your time, in listening to me. A very big thank you, right? And for those who don't know me, I am Osman. I am hashtag the blind Muslim yogi. I'm a bioenergy healer on a master level with telepathic healing capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, amongst a host of other physiological, psychological, and even spiritual ailments. Amazing offer that I have is a 10-minute anxiety fix for just $5, less than the price of a Starbucks coffee, and delivered to you instantly, telepathically, anywhere globally, and pay only after you are satisfied. And that goes for all my treatment protocols. For contact information, visit my website, yogawellness786.com, and where you can get more information about my services as well. So I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, having been practicing this art form for almost 50 years and teaching it for 44 years. But in that time, I had the great privilege and honor to study under various amazing masters from different schools of thought, from different cultures, and across the globe, from the Far East, the Middle East, the West, including the scientific communities. And I've taken all my knowledges and created my own unique protocols, but adapted them for the 21st century, making them easier, faster, quicker, more time efficient, and results oriented. To that end, I now have students in over 100 countries, and my favorite protocol is my 5-minute yoga and meditation program, which you can download for free by visiting my website, yogawellness786.com, and where you can get more information about my services. So, also remember, my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment, right? So, how is it that I'm getting so many ideas and able to create so much of content on a daily basis? So, I'm only restricted right now, by YouTube's algorithms that in the first 3 months they're allowing me a maximum of 10 videos per day, and I can't time the uploads exactly after 24 hours, so I have to create just five, so that if I'm uploading a little bit earlier or a little bit later the next day, I'm not encroaching in the less than 24 hours and going over the 10 video mark, right? And for me to even create 10 videos a day is not a major problem for me, because that's why I want to explain this, right? I'm at a loss for words to explain because there's so much behind this, right? So you must know that this has been a passion of mine from childhood, and I was born with the natural, um, we'll say unnatural, right? Unnatural tendency towards these subjects from a very young age. I was spiritually inclined. I can remember 5 or 6 years old. I was convinced there's a God. There's no doubt in my mind. Is there a God or isn't there a God? It's just, I said, I want to see God and speak to God because God created us. It's so important. He's the one who created us. This is the most important to know our creator. I know my toys were important, playing games were important, and everything was exciting, but I was very curious. The person who created me, I want to know him from that young age, right? For my 10th birthday, so I'm just giving you some background on this, my creativity, right? On my 10th birthday, my mother asked me, what would you like for your 10th birthday? Because it's like a big birthday in our cultures because it's a double digit. You was, 7, 8, 9, these are all single digits. 10 is now you're reaching double digits. And maybe, the 99% chance you're not going to go more than double digits. Very rarely, fraction of a percentage of people are going to go to triple digits, 100 years or more, right? So you reach the big double digit. What would you like as a birthday to, commemorate this thing, right? And I said, I want the 30 volume edition on the science of yoga. And I can only imagine what my mother was thinking. What's wrong? Is this my son? Is something, is he weird? What's weird? Something is a bit weird, I think, when I think back. I mean, I've got children and they don't ask me. I mean, my youngest daughter now is 11. What she likes is Labubu, right? That is, she loved Labubu, and she used to love the Barbie doll. And this is normal thing, right? And she's fascinated with horror movies and everything. And she starts talking about things that go bump in the night, right? Because she watches too many horror movies and so forth. So this is normal, but not a 30 volume edition on the science of yoga, right? And believe you me, Sunazar, see, and she bought it, God bless her soul, and she's still alive. I'm fortunate, and blessed for that. And the books immediately dived into it. Of course, I first looked for the ones with the pictures, right, with the yoga postures. And because I was very into it, I came across some yoga books before that, the pictures, and it like really took me and inspired me, right? And I read all of the books, trying to glean the knowledge in everything, getting a well-rounded knowledge of the holistic yoga from that age, or from the ethical teaching point of view, and service to mankind. And I was always volunteering for organizations, orphanages, in the weekends, and helping people, like and helping at home, helping my mom, helping her to clean the house, and fasting. I used to tell my mom, today, from now on, only cook some rice with lentils without any salt, just a little bit, and I want to eat only that from now, only lentils and that. She said, okay, I'll see how you're going to eat it without salt, just lentils, and see how long it lasts, right? Of course, it didn't last very long, but I ate it, things like that. And of course, I wasn't born Muslim or of the Muslim faith. Now I'm Muslim, right? When it came to when I was around 15 years old, and I respected all religions, all cultures, right? Because I believe God is speaking in different languages through different cultures and different geographical areas in different ways. And I want to capture God. I want to find this God, right? I want to know who's this guy, right? And I was thinking he's a guy, right? Have a chat with him, right? And let's see, uh, I want him to answer what's the meaning, what's the purpose of life, why was I born, and you know questions like that. I'm thinking now from 10 years old, right? And going very deep when I was around 15, and I wanted to fast Ramadan. My neighbors were Muslim. They said, no, you have to be circumcised, and you have to take the shahada before, for that's Ramadan. I said, okay, no problem, but they didn't make me take the oath. They just said, I went and booked an appointment. Fortunately, I was under medical insurance. And I went to the doctors and I told them I want to have the procedure. I got it done just to, because that for the coming month, it was just like about a week away or something, right? Few days away. I had the procedure done urgently so that I could fast that month, right? And I fasted the whole month, right? Asking my neighbor, what is the the time to eat before the time, the opening and the breaking of the fast, right? opening and the closing of the fast, and they call it opposite ways. I don't understand. But the morning time and the evening time, even now I'm Muslim for 20 years, and it's some of the terminologies that some of the Muslims use. All is not the same. There's so many dialects, so many faiths, so many, different sectors, and they are like opposing views, and not everyone is same, right? Don't judge people, with one brush, right? But I was like that and into it, and have heated arguments with people who said they don't believe in God and so forth. Say, how is that even possible, right? But always expanding my knowledge. And the good thing that I did, I never follow one religion, right? I studied different religions and went deep as possible. I did 7 years studies in Bible studies, right? Not in every religion, but I went like in Vedanta and Satan, the Indian religion, was very fascinating because it's got so much of information, very intricate. It took me 28 years just going deep as possible into it, not memorizing like what is this chakra, what is that chakra, and to write an exam, but to gather what is the benefit of these things and how we can apply it to benefit our lives practically in day to day. How I can get a better job, how I can improve my money, how I can find my soulmate, how I can improve my health, how I can feel more tranquil and together, how I can be an alpha person, how I can achieve all my goals. This is my fundamental. That what's the point of all these things if you can't apply it in day to day, right? From that time, I went deeper and I'm very deep. I see a lot of people talking on YouTube and even giving lectures everywhere. They are masters of their field and so forth. And I think in many of the fields, I mastered more, I studied more than what they studied and where they are talking, right? And I don't go out talking because I felt the more I studied, I know less and less. I became more dumbfounded that I know hardly anything. I felt I didn't feel that I have to talk. And then by the time I was a young adult in my 30s, people used to invite me to talk, and I used to feel shy to talk but I used to talk, but I never used to volunteer that I want to talk, and never take like a spiritual position, the head of some organization and so forth. And they invited me and they offered me the positions as well, right? In various religious organizations, and so forth. I didn't want that because I didn't feel, I'm deserving of that. I don't feel that anyone has got that right, right? And I really respect the people who take up that position, because it's like the blind leading the blind, right? But someone has to do the dirty job, right? And it's not easy. It's not just leading spiritually, it's more administrative, right? A lot of administrative functions that you're in charge of, and I didn't want to be shackled with that. But I went deeper and deeper, studying more and more and more and more and more. I didn't just accept. Even eventually, when I so d- when I accepted Islam, I felt that's the best fit for me from everything that I studied, because I needed something simple, direct, and that's giving me the opportunity, because I realized that God, what the concept of God is, doesn't mean I know, means is unknowable, uncreated. And because of the few experiences that I had, I was thinking I was so stupid. Why do I have to have the Samadhi experience, going to ecstasy and bliss and experiencing the whole universe as me and everything, in order to believe that God is not this and God is so much greater? Can't I see the greatness of God just in the flower, in the way the ants walk, in the way the birds are flying, in this thing, and how we created our own human body? How great! Why couldn't I understand His greatness and just, is worshipable? I just wanted to worship Him, right? And I found this is the only religion I can worship Him so many times, and it's not just 5 times, it's 6 times. Actually, in the middle of the night, we do, nighttime prayers, and that's the main time you're connecting, with God, just before, the morning prayer, like 2, 3 in the morning, right? In the dead of night, right? In the last one third of the night. And, I can go down and prostrate. And I just want to prostrate. I don't want to know more. Because how am I going to learn more about that which is infinite and beyond knowledge? No amount of knowledge, whatever we learn, is going to be a drop in the ocean. And the more and more I learned, I was saying, I know that so many people, they don't know a lot of things, and I know this, and I should tell them, but why should I tell them? I don't have that knowledge. I even did once a thesis on Advaita philosophy, my perspective, and mainly a commentary, but an elaboration of on Swami Vivekananda's 9-volume edition. So mine became, double that level. And I showed it to one of my professor friends, because I used to connect with the university professors to clarify certain things that I didn't understand in certain ancient languages, that are no longer spoken today. That to give his entire, from a scholarly perspective, and then and I got him to read my perspective, on my uh, it's, you could say, like a commentary, and they considered it like a thesis, and he wanted to award me a PhD. I refused to accept the PhD. I said, no, no, I don't want to accept. Even in my studies and so forth, I didn't go and finish, the degrees to go and accept I never went and accepted any, certificate or degree. Few small certificates, of course, it was like, I took it and I got rid of it, right? I don't have anything, because I don't want to be identified as someone knowledgeable, that he's got this degree in science, he's got this PhD, and he's advanced in this knowledge. And no, because the truth is, the more you learn, the less you know. You understand, the less you know. And the time was going, and eventually I said, I found easier ways to do things, and I want to share these easier ways, because people are doing the very difficult ways and complicated ways, that they must be initiated before you can get spiritually advanced. And this is nonsense, right? With due respect, I'm saying that, right? Sorry for using the word nonsense. It doesn't make sense to me. Let's put it that way, right? Because I am not initiated by any person. I didn't. Why? Because if I initiate, I must accept that school of thought, right? And I didn't want to. I only, in my early adult life, when I was around 19, I took baptism as a Christian, right? Because I was very moved by the preacher was speak. And then later, in my mature adult, when I was around 38, I wanted to worship God more dedicated, right? More intensely and more often, because I feel I want to worship more and more, right? If I can worship the whole day, but we can't sit and worship the whole day, right? But I wanted to intersperse it between. That is the main reason. I'm not worried what's in the philosophy, what they say, what's in the. I just want to worship, right? God, because I don't care whether it's through the Christian, the Buddhist way, where there is, just nirvana, or in the, the Hindu way. And it's like Hindu way is very complicated. I said, oh God, it's so complicated, and I want something simple, and I found the Islamic religion very simple, right? To give you an example, I mean, it's very, I mean, due respect, right? It's my religion now, and it's very deep. Every word, every alphabet, you know, in the scripture, the original is very deep, right? But what attracted me, it's very simple. Do this, don't do that. Every detail. How to even go to the toilet is described, right? So I wanted someone like, to give me a protocol for everything, because I'm coming from a business background. We work with protocols and systems, right? I don't want something just wide, just do, as you please, which, I mean, it's a good perspective as well, freedom, because people should be free, shouldn't we? But I wanted to follow a system, right? And that I feel is recommended, and as a guidance, right? And not necessarily for everyone. Depends on your location and your background, and all these things, right? As well, I understand that perspective. But I went deeper, and the more the years were going, the more I studied, the more I felt, the less I knew, right? So eventually, when I speak, I can speak nonstop on any, because I'm doing energy healing and I'm teaching yoga and meditation. But because I'm practicing and no one else was there, and it's like a lost art form, right? People don't know what is yoga. It's hard to find people who know what is yoga, and people just know what. Now people know more about yoga in this day and age. I'm coming from the 1960s, right? So people didn't know, and I'm not from India, and I'm from South Africa. They don't know what's yoga. They say, what is that? And so I was teaching always for free, right? Free classes, because I learned under free classes. Of course, the 30 volume Science of Yoga was not free. I mean, I invested in books and knowledge. When I was 38 years old and left to go to Dubai to study Islam. I wanted to study it in the Middle East, in the Arabic, and also work while I'm studying, because it was a property boom that time, and I was in the real estate sector, self-employed in South Africa at the time. So I felt instead of going to Mecca and studying, I can go to Dubai and work and study. It's like a sister country and have access to the original, the original people and the original culture and so forth. When I left, the saddest thing was to get rid of my book. It was a truckload of books that I had to get rid of. And the most precious of them, from different schools of thought, I gave to a friend who was so inclined, philosophically inclined. Sadly, he is now passed away. He passed away from, suffering from, cancer, and really the therapies he went for the chemos and all that. And I was with him. I used to call him, and he used to feel good, when I speak to, because I used to by just conversing the energy, you transfer your comfort, that energy transfers to the person. And he was comforted. He didn't have, like, through the chemotherapy, especially, people have a lot of adverse effects, right? He went through it, more pleasantly, and unfortunately, it eventually came, it progressed, and they took all his insides out. He had this plastic bag for the stomach. And really, it was so sad to see him in that condition. And eventually, the cancer spread to his spine, and, all these things. And he was always encouraging me to, create content. And I was always wanting to create this for decades, right? Decades. I said, no, I want to, but I'm learning. I feel I don't know anything. Let me learn a little bit more, little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. And I remember that my eyes used to burn reading, this print in books till late in the night from the age of 10, right? I'm reading like that, not only my studies and so forth, like books on spirituality. And then from the age, once I finished high school and I could spend more time, and I used to buy this one volume editions with very fine print and read through it, go through the Bible cover to cover over 20 times, go through the Bhagavad Gita, go through the Quran, inside, left, right, go through all the, commentaries on Upanishads, the Rig Veda, what is Buddhism, what Socrates spoke, Aristotle, and, uh, Greek philosophies, and the ancient cultures, and really studying, and I was getting more and more fascinated. I said, no, I can't write a book or teach. And even when that professor wanted to award me a PhD, I destroyed that. I burnt it, I deleted all that, this thing, and whatever I had, in print form, I got rid of all that, right? I didn't want someone to feel, because I felt that's going to dilute people more, right? People already deluded. I didn't want to be an additional delusion. And that's why I didn't want to create the content, right? But I felt I have so much to say and so much of experience, that I should. And I had my first Kundalini awakening, by the age of 19, my first Samadhi experience, sorry, not just Kundalini. Kundalini awakening was before that, right? But first Samadhi experience by the age of 19, going to total bliss, falling unconscious and getting up, can't even speak a word, for any length of time, from few minutes to like an hour, right? And only from just a minute or two, and I used to fortunately be able to come out of it. Very overwhelming, right? Multiples of that in different ways, through mantra, trying out mantras, through meditation practice, through going through divine, services like in a church, and they're singing praises, and I just, boom, I go into samadhi and fall unconscious, right? And go into extreme bliss and ecstasy beyond what you can expand and so forth. And you get deeper knowledge of everything. But I was very passionate. I was only interested in talking about these type of topics always. Whenever I wanted, not only about religion, but also about wellness, about health, improve. And I used to, all my clients, I was in commercial real estate brokerage, for the better part of 17 years, whilst I was in the Middle East. And before that, in my country, I was in residential real estate for about 10 years. and doing other businesses to be able to fund my real estate business, because I couldn't earn enough to make ends meet, delivering pizzas and selling toys and selling photocopiers and computers and selling curtains and crockery and you name it, just to be able to make money in order to fund my business, because I wasn't good at selling, right? And eventually I became um, financially successful because I found a trick to doing it. I mean, you're spending so long. I think I was a slow learner, right? And of course, I had amazing financial success later after that. And 17 years in the Middle East, and always speaking about this and that. And then eventually I said, no, this is my passion, right? It's closest to my heart. And I started experiencing more and more experiences that I found easier ways, protocols. Then I started to, see that yoga is something so amazing that can help people in everything. So I created a website and I started to develop that. This is the current website. Been decades in development. I first started as a free, WordPress, website, and I just said I want to keep it as a free site that if I die, at least the knowledge, my perspective is there, and very basic perspectives, and getting videos from other people that are respected like Deepak Chopra and so forth, and easier ways of meditation and so forth, and I put videos in my this thing. And then eventually I said, no, I must write books. But who reads books these days? To be able to get to the masses, people are only want to watch videos. They don't want to read anymore, right? I said, okay, I must create videos. And I've been wanting to create videos, I think about over 10 years or so. And then eventually I said, no, I have to do it now. Now I'm going to do it. When I turned 50, I said, no, now I'm going to leave all my commercial enterprise and so forth. I want to spend the rest of my life working in my passion and working that also as a business to support myself, because I mean, I could hardly earn any money in this. Those who are yoga teachers and energy healers know that you can't make a lot of money in this field, right? But yet, I mean, I got paid very well, by some very wealthy people, because of my expertise and what I've been able to do. I'm, for crying out loud, I'm charging $5 for a 10-minute anxiety fix. And that's my base price, right? And everything is revolving from that starting point. How rich am I going to get like that, right? But I said I've got business experience. I'll use my business experience to build this into a lucrative business as well. And I want to teach other people also energy healing and be able to reach out to more people. And then I said, let me create, videos on my perspectives, on a simplified way on how to do things, and discussions, because I've got so many things to discuss, and I don't have people who's willing to listen to what I'm saying, because people get bored from and they fall asleep when I'm talking to them. And to talk to a video camera, that because I believe there is someone maybe was interested in what I have to say, let me preserve it in a public platform, that one day, even after I'm dead, that someone comes across something and it inspires them to find an easier solution. Why should they struggle like me? I struggled for decades finding easier solutions after decades of struggle. And then the other people shouldn't struggle like that. So I struggled I think I struggled how long to be able to, um, I think from, let's say, fully awakened Kundalini from the age of 19, at the age of 14, 30 years later, I learned how to control it, manually control. Once you control, you can't control Kundalini, but interact and develop the interaction, right? I learned how to do that by trial and error of so many methods from so many teachers, right? And eventually I found that one which works, and then I'm trying to spread the information. And so I've got a lot of background, because I've been very slow to want to come and and then when I eventually wanted to create, ready to create it, I said, no, now I must create it in a video channel, right? I'm doing it full time. I've got time also, right, at hand. When I was self-employed, I didn't have time, right? So now, of course, still self-employed, but in this field, now I've got time for this field. So I've got the time and I've got so much to say, what I learned as a perspective. But how do you get so much of creative ideas? I don't sit and plan and troubleshoot. Now, today, I'm going to plan that I want to talk on these subjects. I don't, that is not my modus operandi. What I do is I meditate before I can start creating. I create my 5 or 8 or 10 videos in a row, right? And I don't decide. I'm only restricted in terms of my schedule, program, and my goals and so forth, right? So then I just say, okay, let me sit and meditate for at least 20 minutes and try to calm myself and um, try to connect with the creative energy and inspiration, and with a request or like a prayer to inspire me today and to speak through me today. And so my messages shouldn't be something planned analytically in my mind. It must just flow through me, right? Because I believe there is a higher power and there is a higher energy, and also uh, tinted with my experience, because everyone got his individual. Our purpose is to give our perspective and help in the way according to our talents. And one of my talents is I've got a little bit of experience from many diverse schools of thought, and I spend a lot of time in it and refining and making things simpler and easier and quicker and more effective. In especially the yoga, advanced yoga and meditation field, and also in the energy healing, I spend daily basis in increasing my energy levels. Right? I mean, to give you an idea, um, I reached master level in my energy healing about 7 years ago. And on a daily basis, I was practicing to increase that energy level to reach grand master level, right? So every 2 weeks, it was incrementally increasing. My energy levels were increasing. So that, like what I was doing, like about 3 years ago, what took me 4.5 hours, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the same thing took me 4 minutes. Right? It's just getting faster and faster because my energy levels are incrementally increasing every 2 weeks, and now it's increasing incrementally daily. Right? So now I'm on level 711 today. Right? It's an amazing day for me. So coming back to how I'm creating, I sit in meditation and then I decide now. I put the camera. Place the camera. Of course, I'm doing everything myself. I'm blind, and thanks to Apple, that they created the technology that I can create, start and I don't want to use the words because voice commands are on. It will just follow my command when I use those keywords, to be able to record and create these contents on my own, because I don't have people with the patience to stay long enough with me, because my income is too little right now. And they unable to sacrifice their time to for the mission of spreading my perspectives to the world at large, which may hopefully help just one person. If I helped, I would be really helpful. But I've already helped people in over 100 countries. And when I saw so many people, when I saw that some of my students, it's not uncommon for my students now who got zero knowledge of yoga, I come and I teach them, instruct them into the advanced yoga and meditation practices, that within 1 to 2 days having an out of body experience, within 3 to 6 months able to save lives healing, right, from zero, right, and within a 12-month period reaching the breathless state. It's not uncommon. And I've been having a lot of the students over 100 countries, right? And eventually I said, no, I must share this knowledge, right, in a platform that, for other people. But I didn't want to create it and say that this is my experience, this is my knowledge. I just try to get inspired just before the video. Okay, what comes to mind from inspiration, right? And then when I stop, then I say, what's the next? What do I feel? What do I feel in my heart? And I do it that way, like how an artist would write a song or create a painting, like from inspiration. So I'm trying doing it from that perspective. You'll see a lot of like and pauses, and like it's definitely not written out and repeated and created and mastered and all that. I didn't want. I wanted to just flow naturally, like a stream flowing. This is how nature is. You are part of nature, and I wanted this. information and my perspectives to come to you like a flow, like a flow from nature, and so forth. And so I never planned my topics. Just before I, start it, I ask for inspiration. What should I speak on now? What should I speak? And then the the thing that comes to mind spark, okay, I'll speak on this. And I can go on like that for 72 hours nonstop. I've been known to speak for 72 hours nonstop as well. There was one occasion. It was long distance, a friend of mine with a long distance a business, and he had a lot of drivers and a lot of vehicles, but he had a extra spare vehicle, his personal one, that used in an emergency in case all the vehicles are out and is important, delivery, long distance delivery to be done for a very special client. And he'll normally take me with because I can keep him company and I can also drive with him. He's the owner of the company and so forth. He didn't want to take, just a worker with him, and he knows that I will keep him awake. And once we went on a very long, about 18 hours drive and another 18 hours back, it's 36 hours. And he didn't feel sleepy because I was talking nonstop on the journey, right? And he says, and there was a phone call for another. He said, shall we do a second one? This is very urgent. You up? I said, no problem. I'm not running out of topics. And we went, and 72 hours I spoke, right? Of course, towards the end, we were tired. He was tired as well, and I was also tired, and and so forth. But spoke nonstop 72 hours, right? And I can go on and talking. And I've got a friend that I speak to on a daily basis, and he's in London. And it's not uncommon for us to for a normal just hi, what's before I start my day, just to catch up what I did yesterday, just chit chat, right? Catching up, like what people have a 5, 10 minute, 15 minute, 20-minute conversation, right? It's normally minimum 1.5 to 2 hours, very frequently 3 hours. We see, the time that elapsed, right? 3 hours and 9 minutes, 3 hours and 8 minutes, and say, wow, we talk, and it only feels like 2 minutes, right? So I just talk freely, not planning what to say, not thinking. I just talk flowingly and what's coming to mind, and I'm not creating my content as a scholarly content, but more a perspective, my perspective from my experiences. And I feel I've learned a lot of things that I can share and make your life easier, shorter cuts for those who are in this field or want to get into this field or inspired to get into it, and how you can improve your life tremendously, right? By just, I created this 5-minute yoga and meditation program, decades of teaching and finding which postures and what protocol that is going to give you a result that moment. And that 2-minute meditation that's included with a 3-minute posture that makes the 5 minute is not just thumbs up to make a 5-minute fancy thing, as little as possible to get you into it, because this is mind blowing in my opinion, going to change your life, but very subtly. It's a natural method, subtly but dramatically. You can't go 5 years doing this practice that you 5 years later not going to be in a position that you cannot even believe. It's going to be mind blowing. If I look back 5 years from now to where I am now, as I'm standing, I cannot believe the progress that I've made, in terms of my energy healing and in my protocols in my yoga meditation. I'm constantly learning and refining daily as well. So how do I create this content? Through letting it flow, right, and want it to flow. And I don't plan the topics in advance. I'm not going into Google Analytics and YouTube, what is the trending topics and so forth. I see the topics, it's okay, it's good, but let me see what I'm inspired to talk. Sometimes when I'm uploading, I try to see my analytics. It's so bad, hardly anyone is watching my videos, but no problem, because I know this field is a very niche market, and I'm not creating it for getting follow. Of course, I would appreciate followers, right? A lot of followers. Who doesn't want to make some money and monitor? Who doesn't need money? We all need money, right? We need to survive, right? And I'm used to commercial business, where I'm living a very high luxury lifestyle, right? Earning in the millions and asset value in the billions and so forth, right? US dollars. And to this thing, we all need it, but that's not my intention. My intention is to share my ideas that can inspire those who are not in this field, to encourage you to come into it, giving perspectives in different angles that may just spark some one person. So there are one or two people that watched my videos, right? Um, so that is, maybe I changed someone's life in some small way, and I did change so many lives already in over 100 countries, right? So maybe I can change them through my video channel as well, because I'm not going to be around forever. I want at least this information not to die with me, right? So leave it behind in a platform that is accessible always, that maybe someone is struggling with something, he finds a topic, and it's going to solve his immediate problem, in my perspective, will help him, for that day or that 1 millimeter, and I've achieved the purpose of this channel, right? So that's how I create my content and my videos. And of course, I'm also blind. I can't have a notepad and read from it, which was to my advantage. Originally, I thought I should do like that, write the topics down and then, go through it. But I now, into it just over 2 months of creating this contents. And now I'm reaching close to 400 videos, right? In just over 2 months. And I feel, no, that was not necessary, because how I'm gonna write, I have to put it in my notepad in my phone, right? And I'm using my same phone to record. So how I'm gonna access it? And while I'm recording, I can't even speak to any of the AI to, to boost, some ideas and topics for me to, to talk on that may trend or go viral. I said, no, no, let's forget all those things. Let me speak from inspiration, what topic comes to mind, and just talk on it. And even talk, I'm not even planning fully what I'm going to say, right? Just let it flow on that subject. Just think of something and one, two, what I've got. Sometimes a topic comes and I feel like I don't have enough experience or perspective on it from a personal point of view, then I dismiss it and go to something where I've got some experience, some level of experience or knowledge, in it, and then, continue, with that topic. And that's how I create my content. So I hope that information helps you. Take care of yourself always.